This is Gemara in Sotah, Daf Lamid Gimel. I'm holding in the bottom of Lamid Beis, Amid Beis, the two dots, approximately 15 lines from the bottom, in which the Gemara quotes the next case in the Mishnah, the next case of items that can be said b'chol lashon, kriyas shema. Says the Gemara, Minalan. From where do we know that kriyas shema can be said in any language? D'chsev, as the pasuk says, Shema Yisrael, listen, Klal Yisrael. But Chalashon Shata Shemea, which we darshan in any language that you hear. Tanu Rabbanan, and we continue with a brisa which hopefully should sound familiar, as we've had this in Megillah, we've had this in Brachos. Says the Gemara, Kriya Shema, Kechsava Devrei Rebbe, comes along Rebbe, and Rebbe teaches us that Kriya Shema has to be read Kechsava, in its language, in Lashon HaKodesh. Says Rebbe, comes from the Chachamim Aimrim, b'chol lashon, no, not necessarily in Lashon HaKodesh, in any Lashon. My time with the Rebbe, your Rebbe get asked to be said, b'Lashon HaKodesh, Amar Krav V'hayu, and which Rebbe darshins, b'aviyos on you, it has to be in its own pristine original language, Lashon HaKodesh. V'Rabbanan Amar, Kra Shema, b'chol lashon shata shemeya. And now begins the Gemara, the classical game of ping pong. V'Rabbanan Nami Haksev V'hayu. What did the Rabbanan do with Rebbe's pasuk of V'hayu? Answers the Gemara, V'hayu say the Rabbanan, it has to be in the way it is. It can't be out of order. V'Rebbe, what is Rebbe? Where does he know? If he used the word V'hayu to teach you that it has to be in Lashon HaKodesh, how does he know that Shema has to be read in the right order? Nafkalei medvarim hadvarim, that extra drasha v'rabbanan dvarim hadvarim lo yimashma lehu. Now the Gemara throws the ball back to Rebbe. V'Rebbe nam yaksiv Shema. What does Rebbe do to drasha of the Rabbanan? They said Shema means in any language. What does Rebbe do? Answers Rebbe Homi Baile, 3 lines in the bottom. La hashmiya la oznecha. You have to hear with your ears. Mashat hamaiti bevicha. In order to be yotzei kriyishma, you have to hear that which you're saying. For Rabbanan Savri, look, come on, Damar. The Rabbanan, what do they say? Because they don't have the drasha, the pasuk left for such a drasha. The Rabbanan hold that kriyishma v'lashmiya la oznai yatsa v'lamaisa. Even if you don't hear that which you said, you are yotzei. Says the Gemara, Lema kasava Rebbe. Should we say that Rebbe holds, as we turn over to today's daf, Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph Kol HaTorah B'chol Lashon Emra? Should we say that Rebbe was just of the opinion a moment ago that Shema has to be dafka specifically in Lashon HaKodesh? So ask the Gemara, shall we say that Rebbe is of the opinion that he says the entire Torah can be said in any language? Why? Where would we deduce such a fact from our Gemara? Because Nemra, because if Rebbe held the entire Torah said in Lashon HaKodesh, Nemra, so what would V'hayu be used for? V'hayu seemingly teach the way that it is in Lashon HaKodesh. Says the Gemara, no Raya. Itzrech misham dechsev Shema, says Rebbe, because we have your pasuk, the Rabbanan, the pasuk that you hold, Shema b'chol lashon shata shemeya. So to balance that out, we need V'hayu. Now the Gemara flips it back to the Rabbanan, 4 lines down. Let me give them an aleph. Should we learn from here that the Rabbanan hold that the kol haTorah kula is b'chol lashon, and therefore dafka in Shema is Shema b'chol lashon. It could be in any lashon. According to the Rabbanan, what would we need Shema if the entire Torah could be said in any lashon? So why would we need Shema to teach us something about Kriya Shema? It answers the Gemara, Itzrech. You know why? Because of Rebbe's pasuk of V'hayu, we need the pasuk of Shema to balance it out. So that is the machlaikas. The shita of the Mishnah is the Rabbanan that Shema can be said in any language, whereas Rebbe disagrees it has to be said in Lashon HaKodesh. And continues the Gemara, and the next entity in the Mishnah that can be said b'chol lashon, which is Tefillah. Says the Gemara, where do we know that Tefillah can be said in any language? Rachamehi, because Tefillah is Rachmanas, his mercy, his compassion. Matzli. And therefore, however one wants to daven, everyone wants to connect to the Father in heaven, he's able to. Ask the Gemara 1 second, is it true that tefillah can be said in any language? Rav Yehuda has taught us, person should not daven in Aramaic. Why? The malachim are not going to help you. The malachim will not grab your tefillah and bring them up to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Why not? The angels do not know Lashon Arami. So you're telling me that you could say tefillah in any language. What do you mean? We see you should not daven in Aramaic. Answers the Gemara, Loi Kasha. Ha bi yachid. By yachid, when you're davening on your own, then you need the malachim. Then you're right, you should not daven b'arami. Ha b'tzibur. But when you're davening b'tzibur, then you don't need the help of the malachim. Because your tefillah ascends doing the koyach of the rabbim. Therefore, it can be said of any language. Says the Gemara, 1 second. You just told me, Vein Malachi Asharis Makirim B'Lashon Arami. Is it true what you just said that the Malachim don't understand Aramaic? V'atanya, we learned in the Raisa, Yechanan Kohen Gadol. Yechanan the Kohen Gadol, about 15 lines down. The first one line is Kohen Gadol. Shama Baskol Mi Beis Kodesh HaKodashim. He heard a Baskol emanating from the Holy of Holies, Shoimer, in which this Baskol said, Nitzchu. Said the Baskol, the young men who went to war in Antochia have been victorious. And another story, and again, the Nekuda that we're bringing out from these stories is when you're hearing a Baskol, seeming that's the Malachim talking, and they're talking in Aramaic. Another story, Shimon HaTzadik. Shimon HaTzadik, Shema Baskol, he heard a Baskol, Shoimer, Batilas Avidata, in which the Baskol said, the Avaida, that Vitila Avidata, the Amr Sani that the army, that the enemy is going to send out against the Heichel has been batal, has been eliminated. Venerag Gis Kalgis Ubatlu Gziraisav, and Gas Kalgis was killed, and the decrees were nullified. And what happened at that moment? Vakasu Isasha, and they wrote down the time when the Baskol said this, Vikivnu. And the Maisa was precise. So ask the Gemara, Ubalashon Arami, Oyoimer. So you're telling me the Malachim don't know Lashon Arami. But we see two different stories of Baskols that are in Lashon Arami. Answers the Gemara by Yisima Baskol Shaini de Lashamuyi Avida. Maybe a Baskol is different. Really, Malachim don't necessarily understand in Aramaic. But a Baskol is different because it's coming to talk to us, to mortals that understand Aramaic. By Yisima Gabriel Damar Have, it was Malach Gabriel Damar Mar, but Gabriel Limdu Shivin Lashon. So Davka the Malach Gabriel, he understood all the languages, but the rest of the Malachim did not. Two different answers how we can explain that perhaps the Malachim don't know Aramaic, but you can't bring me a raya from these two stories. We continue with the fifth entity that the Mishnah taught us, 6 lines from the wide lines, Lamagim Lam Aleph, that could be said V'cholashin was what? Birchat HaMazoin. Says the Gemara Dechsiv as the Torah teaches us, V'achalta v'zavato v'rachta Hashem Elokecha. Eat and be satiated and bless Hashem your God. V'cholashin shata mevarech. For here we learn out any language that you could bless. Shvuas oeidos. Continues the Mishnah, the 6th entity that can be said in any language is the Shvuah of Eidim Dechsiv in Nefesh Kisecheteh. V'shama kol Allah b'cholashin shata shemas, and again we darshin any language that you hear. And number 7 is shuas abikadin. How do we know dasya techete mishuas eidus? We learn that from the Gzer Shavar shuas eidus. Ve'elu number b'lashan hakodesh, and the Mishnah continued that the following have to be said in Hebrew: mikra bikurim v'chalitza v'chulu. Ad mikra bikurim keitzad, until the Mishnah says. The Mishnah continues until it says mikra bikurim keitzad. How do we know Mikra Bikurim? Says you should answer, you should say in front of Hashem, your God, Allah. No, and previously it said, Vanu Alavim V'amru El Kol Ish Yisrael. Alavim said to all Kais Amani Amur Lashain Lalon. B'Lashanai Kodesh, just like the answering in Levim was Lashanai Kodesh, Avkam B'Lashanai Kodesh. Says the Gemara, 4 lines from the bottom of Levim, Gufayim in Allah, and how do we know Levim was Lashanai Kodesh? Asya Kol Mi Moshe. Ksevach Kol Ram, Ksevach Moshe Rabbeinu Lekimi and Enebe Kol. Mal Halon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was talking Lashanai Kodesh, Avkan. But Lashana Kodesh. And the Mishnah continued with the next case was Chalitza Ketzad. For Rabbanan Aikacha my Avdele, and the Mishnah explained that they learn out from the word Kacha, so asked the Gemara. According to the Tanakama, who doesn't learn like Rav Yehuda, what does he do with the word Kacha? For a different Joshua. He learns to teach anything that the action is essential to the Chalitza. He learns that from Kacha, as Rashi speaks out, but going Chalitza or Kika, the spitting, the Kacha mashma ikuva. Kacha means it holds back. Das Lishanes, you cannot change the Samchuli Aseh V'Leimer Shamaisa Ma'akif. For Rav Yehuda, where does Rav Yehuda know this from? Answers the Gemara, Mikoi Kacha V'Rabbanan Koi Kacha Loi Mashvalei. They don't learn out that drasha. We continue as we turn over. Apologies that the pages are flying. And we continue as we turn over to Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis and ask the Gemara, what did Rav Yehuda do? For Rav Yehuda, hi Vanisa V'Amra, my Avidei. What does Rav Yehuda do with the pasuk? You know what he needs it for? That the Levim have to say the brachas and the klalos and Lashon HaKodesh. But says more 1 second. We just say it a second ago. Kol mi Moshe. Why does he learn out from the word from the kol that we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu? Answers the Gemara, ani gamar kol loy gamir. What does it mean? Gamir means he had a tradition. He had a halach l'Moshe Sinai. So he was mekabel from his rabbi that we learn out of Gzeir Shava of Aniya, as the second Rashi points out. But Kol, he never learned from his rabbi, never had a Kabbalah that you learn such a Gzeir Shava. It says the Gemara, Taninam Yalcha, I'll bring your rights, the entity reviewed the Aimer, Kol Makum Shemar Kacha, Aniya V'Amira, Inu El Lashon HaKodesh. All of these words indicate Lashon HaKodesh, Koi, Kois V'Arachu, Kacha, Dechalitza, Aniya V'Amira, Dile V'Yim. We continue quoting the next case in the Mishnah, 8 lines down, the 2 dots that could be said. Says the Gemara, Barachas Uklalis Ketzad, Kim Shavi Yisrael Sayardin V'Chulu, and the Mishnah taught us the whole story. They came to Har Grizim, they came to Har Evel, and the Mishnah continued to prove that Har Grizim and Har Evel were near Shechem, which was far away from the Yarden. So says the Gemara, the din of the Mishnah is not conclusive. Tanu Rabbanon, Halohema, says the Pasuk Aleima Vevar Yarden, the mountains, Har Grizim, Har Evel, on the other side of the Yarden, Mevel the Yarden Ve'ilach Divrei Reb Yehuda. This is the opinion of Reb Yehuda. Where did Reb Yehuda get this from? Achrei Derech Mavay HaShemesh, which he learns, Makush HaChamaz Erachas, a place that the sun shines, is referring to the east. Baras HaKanani HaYeshe Ba'arava, Elu Har Grizim, Har Evel, Sheshe Behem, Kutayim, in which the Kutim were sitting in. So explains the Gemara, the Mishnah explained that they're close to Shechem, but Rav Yehuda disagrees, and Rav Yehuda holds that it is on the east side of the Yarden. Mol HaGilgal, opposite the Gilgal, Samach LeGilgal. That means it's nearby. Eitel Eloini Mamre, near Eloini Mamre. What does that teach us? Shechem. This refers to Shechem. Ulalanu Oimer, as the Mishnah said, V'yaver Avram Be'eretz an Mokim Shechem, Adelon Mareh. Ma'alin Mareh Omer La'alon Be'avram Avinu was Shechem. Avkan was Shechem. Tanya continues the Braisa. Amar Rav Elazar Rav Yosef. V'davar says Ziyafti Sifrei Kutayim. With this entity, this is how says Rav Elazar Rav Yosef, I proved that the Sifrei Torah of the Kutayim had no meaning to them. Amarti Lam, I told them, Ziyafti Teiraschem, you falsified everything you wrote. V'lo ha'lisem biyadchem klom. And in reality, you've done nothing. Why? Shatem oimrim, because you, the Kutayim, say, Eiloinei mamrei Shechem, avanu moidim. Sheilonei mamrei is Shechem. We agree to that detail. Anu lamanu gzeir shava, atem b'mal lamadatem. We know that Eiloinei mamrei was by Shechem. How do we as in those who believe in Torah Sheval Peh, how do we know it from gzeir shava? But how do you, the Kutim, who you claim they only believe in Torah Shebiksav, how do you do it? So says the Gemara, this is how they prove that the Kutim fabricated that which they wrote. Continues the Gemara, right, was the opinion of Rav Yehuda. Rav Elazar Aimer, Halohema, Be'ever HaYarden, Samuch LeYarden. Rav Elazar holds, no, what does Be'ever LeYarden means? It's nearby. Dim Be'ever LeYarden. The Eloch, as Rav Yehuda learned, Haloik Sev Ayu Bavarchen is the Yarden Acharei Derech Mavaya Shemesh. Bakshacham Shekas Ba'aretz Ekanani Eretz Chivi. The place that the sun sets, which is in the west. Eretz Ekanani, Eretz Chiviu is the land of the Chivi. That's where Shechem is. Hayoshe Ba'arava, Hayoshe Ba'arava of Haloi Ben Har Mukvayisin. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? But the Pasuk says that it's in Ma'arava. But what do you mean? It's really amongst the mountains. Mola Gilgal Yoshvin. Mola Gilgal. For there we learn out it's opposite Gilgal. V'haloi leiroes a Gilgal. So what's going on? How does Rav Eliezer, Rav Eliezer, to be precise, learn up this pasuk? So explains the Gemara, Rav Eliezer ben Yaakov Aimer Leiba Akasav El Lohayres. You know this pasuk teaches us, Lon? Derech Bashniya. Derech Bashniya, to teach us that it was the second part of their travels to Canaan. Kederech Harlem Berishaina, which was the same way that Hashem showed them in the beginning. That when Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim, Hashem showed them how. Did Hashem show them Avada? Was with the Ananim that led the way. So too over here, as they're about to enter into Canaan, Hashem shows them. Derech, says the pasuk, it says Derech, what does that teach us? B'derech lechuv lebisadas ukramim. Go on the road and don't go through the sadas, the fields and the vineyards. Hayoshev b'yishav lechuv. Go through the areas which are inhabited. V'loi b'midbaros, and don't go through the wilderness. Ba'arava lechuv v'loi b'harim mukvais, and not through the mountains and the hills. So from here we learn, we're going to stop over here. Tomorrow we're going to pick it up more as we're going to continue the journey of Klal Yisrael through the Yarden. But let's just summarize. This last Gemara was a little bit difficult with the Psukim. What happened is we have two opinions. Where was Har Grizim and Har Evel? Was it on the eastern or the western side of the Yarden? Is it near Shechem or not? The Gemara quoting a dissenting opinion from the Mishnah, and then playing out how it works with the Psukim. We'll continue from the Tanur Rabbanan as we'll continue Klal Yisrael's journey into the Yarden in the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya.